Now we'll move into to talk about your work experience that you have had once you graduated.
Yeah.
So, first things first, do you remember the first job that you had after you graduated?
Yeah, before let me tell you thing that I started an internship in the final semester of my degree, and that
Hmm.
company offered me job. So I got job during my final semester of degree. Actually, it was the COVID-19 days, and most of the study was shifted to the online mode. So I had a time for doing an
Hmm.
internship. In the evening, I went to the industry for learning or the practical demonstration of the process. Although
Hmm.
I have done three internships during my bachelor study, but then after during my final year, I went to join a company. It was
Hmm.
basically a soap and detergent manufacturer at medium scale, and usually they export their product to the local market as well as to
Hmm.
Afghanistan as well as Sri Lanka.
Hmm.
I was actually given the task of the optimization of single contact, single absorption plant during my first job after graduation. And they had some issues related to the environment and stack control. Obviously, there were many problems inside the plant. Lines were choked and the catalyst problems. So we transformed that plant from single contact to double contact process for the sulfuric acid, and our task was accomplished in my almost 9 to 10 months of my first job.
Hmm.
I designed the heat exchanger and the catalytic reactor for this transformation. The absorption towers were obviously dismantled, and a new distributor as well as the whole towers. One of the towers was reinstalled. So it was
Hmm.
complete transformation. After that, I was promoted to the project engineer. Our company had after fulfilling the legal requirement, government approved their bid for installation of a new plant. So
Hmm.
I was tasked with the for the I was tasked by the like management of our company for the installation of
Hmm.
sulfuric acid plant, and then I installed a complete one. And I supervised that project, and I recently commissioned that project. It is basically a 130 ton per day sulfuric acid plant by double contact, double absorption process.
Hmm. Amazing. I mean, that sounds like you have had quite a lot of responsibilities along your career, even as being a young engineer. You have had chance
Yes.
of playing with the, of course, you could say, building up plants, optimizing a full-fledged production lines. So that's very remarkable and very impressive that your employer did see the potential in you and gave you the responsibility, and you handled it quite successfully, might I add. But then, of course, then I have to ask, now that you were working at such with such great responsibility, building up the plants, and you're also working as a project management as a process engineer. How did your normal typical day look like at workplace?
It was a full busy day. It was a
Hmm.
full busy day. Like I can say you that there was many sleepless nights. I had no time for taking a complete rest from my work because during the construction stage, when the plant was started and at the initial phase, there was some construction work. So the construction supervisors were there. They were like overall scheduling they presented their whole schedule of construction for the plant for the basis of our equipment which they made. Obviously, it is the civil engineers' work. And after that, our game started. So we had to play in our zone. We were the mechanical side, the process side were all involved in this project. And I designed that complete plant into like a software design. Then there's mechanical design compatibility with discussing it with some mechanical experts. And after that, we installed our projects in different stages. Like we installed started from the civil side, then we installed our CD circulation tank, and after that we installed our tower. I'm talking about the mechanical structure. And at the end of the plant, the major lining was done. The lining was carried out, as well as the AC coolers and the catalytic reactor was completed. There was some ceramic work which has to be done around the reactor inside the reactor, basically to accumulate the heat and not waste that heat into the environment. And definitely at the end of
Hmm.
the project there was mechanical end of the mechanical task. There were electrical and instrumentation side,
Hmm.
so they carried out their whole phenomena on the plant, and DCS control system and other like PLC were required, were
Hmm.
also provided for our instrumentation. And then the plant started. So it included a lot of hard work of all the people who were involved in this project, the
Hmm.
labor, the supervisors, the shift managers which worked with me, And of course, I was leading that project alone, but we had that consultation with some good technical engineers senior than me for the to avoid any mistake or any process hurdle which could lead to the delay in the timeline of the project, and we delivered our project in time to our management.
Mhm. Amazing. I mean, I can of course imagine it must have been quite a stressful period to have such great responsibility on
Yes.
your shoulder. But then I have to ask because it sounds like, of course, it was a very technical role that you were working in. You were probably applying all of the chemical engineering principles that you had learned in school, which is, of course, given,
Of course. All of the
right?
concepts were totally applied on it, whether it taking
Mhm,
from the adoption side or the
mhm,
catalytic reaction side or
mhm,
including the process optimization. All of the
mhm.
concepts were including.
Amazing. And and it also sounds like, of course, that you were applying, that you had a very strong experience in chemical engineering skills. But then but instead of that, what I would like to ask you is that apart from the chemical engineering skills, what were the soft skills that you really had to use at the workplace in a project like this?
Yeah, to execute our complete project, for the
Mm-hmm,
execution of our complete project, we had to be more focused on overall skills which are required. And like I
mm-hmm,
can say that project management skills helped a lot,
mm-hmm,
like in delivering that project. The communication skill, the talk with senior management, the
mm-hmm,
reporting, the process formulation, which is the chemistry side, as well as I talk about the soft skills, like a personal skill, a person should be more competent in delivering what he's doing, and he is more, if he's convincing for other people that what he's doing is doing a great job.
mm-hmm,
Like simply we can say that communication skills, presentation skills, presentation,
mm-hmm,
not I'm not talking about the PPT. Actually presentation
mm-hmm,
mean that how to present your idea in a meeting,
mm-hmm,
or that how can you improve, or how can you module that, how can you model that particular step during the execution of the project,
mm-hmm,
like convincing the management, the requisitions for new equipment, the like the all of the litigation stuff for the project, and reporting. Of course,
mm-hmm,
reporting, communication, interpersonal skills, soft skills like presentation, effective communication, English language or any local
mm-hmm,
language. If you are competent enough to deal with the labor, you have to talk about
mm-hmm,
the project in their own language. So yes, I had to translate those English or chemical engineering subjects which we were taught in English to our local language in Urdu, and we had some a large workforce who were working and speaking in
mm-hmm,
our mother tongue, which is Punjabi. So I
mm-hmm,
had to translate those decisions of myself into Punjabi, and talk to the labor and the managers sometimes, which were not quite good at in English. So I have to it was a complete roller coaster ride. So we have to work with many people in our project. We have to deal with labor, with the managers, with the supervisors, with the technicians.
mm-hmm,
So to talk about the project with each person is quite different. You have to tell
mm-hmm,
a labor one thing at labor's level. You have to tell the manager a task, that is a task
mm-hmm,
you are providing to the manager. I'm talking about the managers, actually the shift managers, which were
mm-hmm,
junior to me during that project. Like
mm-hmm.
work was carried out in the shift, and it was actually the mechanical side persons which were working alongside me.
Hmm. Amazing. I can fully imagine. It does seem like a roller coaster ride having to work with so different people of different backgrounds, right? Uh, but just like you now mentioned, the operators or the technicians, what, what are the challenges that you have experienced in terms of communicating your ideas and maybe the engineering principles to the operators? And for future chemical engineers, how do you think they can actually prepare themselves to be able to communicate with someone that doesn't know anything that they know, but still having to explain complex ideas to someone uh, uh, already on the floor within like seconds.
Yeah, of course. As well as like as you raise the point of communicating with a person which is not an engineer at the plant setup. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to simply translate what we are trying to speak and what we are
Mm-hmm.
trying to deliver to him into a simple wording. Like when I'm talking about my decision and a troubleshooting situation is in front of me, and I had to ask to the shift operator that take you must take this decision and change the pump or whatever it is the requirement at that time. I don't have much time to elaborate the whole concept. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
much time to take him to the theoretical background. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
how can I do that? I can do it by simply elaborating that agenda and the point into a simple phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm talking about a pump troubleshooting, and there is like any problem in mechanical side, I will not ask him to that why the pump is out of the service, what happened to the pump. I'm not gonna ask him about well, tell
Mm-hmm.
me, elaborate the reason, blah blah blah. I will
Mm-hmm.
directly do instruct him that a pump is now stuck or whatever the problem is coming in the pump. I will elaborate simply him that
Mm-hmm.
this happened to the pump. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now you have to take this decision. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to convince him that pump the like the pump any line or any suction head or any delivery whatever the problem is occurred at, like in specific case we take an example that pump is not delivering the required head. I'm not here to discuss that what happened to the pump and how the delivery head is less,
Mm-hmm.
which is then required. I will try to explain to him or ask him or commanding that you have to take this decision.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, when we are talking about any our with our junior or technician, we don't have much time to elaborate or explaining, but
Mm-hmm.
we can convince him by explaining in simple wording so that he can understand the problem, the concept, or that particular case that is in front of us during the process. Simply, simply
Mm-hmm.
like he understand that concept in 2 to 3 seconds.
Mhm. Exactly. I really agree. Exactly. And you don't really have to justify your actions. You just have to take
Yeah,
the
yeah.
action.
Actually,
And then they
we
have to.
have no time for the justification.
Mhm. Of course not. I mean, as a chemical engineer, you only have seconds to make the next decision, right? And one
Yeah, yeah.
small mistake and you miss the train. But now, as a young engineer, now you graduated, what, in 2020? So you graduated, you are
Yeah,
still a very young person. You grew up with computers. You have a very good understanding of programming. You have a very good understanding of how to use a computer. Excel, PowerPoint, Word, these are words that are very, you know, they're easy for you to use. They're common for you.
yeah, yeah.
Many times, many of the operators that are still working in the industry, or many of the chemical engineers that are working in the industry that
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been here for
Even
the
even many
last
of the
40 years.
chemical engineers don't possess those computer skills. Computer skills are highly demanded. If you are not good
Mhm,
at Word, if you are not good at Excel or any PowerPoint or even the
mhm,
chemical process simulation software, you will not perform in industry.
mhm. Exactly. I mean, exactly. Of course, we are in the modern time, and you modern time require modern solutions, right? But what I wanted to ask
Obviously,
was
obviously.
that if you are looking at all the other engineers and operators that have been in the industry for a much longer, for a long time, for let's say for 40 years,
Yeah, yeah,
they may not possess the same what do you say IT skills that you may have. Have you
yeah, yeah.
ever experienced that level of age gap or skill gap between you? Of course they are experts in many other areas, but they're not experts in the IT part, which is kind of the need of the hour right now. Do you feel that gap tends to affect the communication that you may have with other engineers and other operators that have been in the industry for a lot longer than you may have?
Yes, there is. I can feel. I felt it actually because many
Mm-hmm.
of the operators were like elder than me, about
Mm-hmm.
20 to even 20 to 30 years more in age. I was still very young from them, and I was like a young kid for them. So they do not possess the computer skills. IT skills is quite devastating at the moment in
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan. Yes, it is growing with time, but yes, for
Mm-hmm.
old age people, people don't have much access to the computers or the laptops at moment in Pakistan. But yes, it is growing with time. So these
Mm-hmm.
operators usually rely on the concept size and they usually have the command on the experience what is actually happening to the plant. So they are
Mm-hmm.
more experienced. They have more skill set performing the operation. They have more skill set on doing their job what they are granted or what they are assigned for. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
they do not possess those computer skills as compared to an engineer or a young engineer. Even the young engineers, we had some trainee engineers in our setup for a particular time. And what I felt them, most of them was coming from public sector universities, and it was very good to see that they were very competent in doing their responsibility, in executing their responsibilities. But on the other hand, there were some students, I call them trainee engineer as a student, because he's still learning the phenomena, what is going on in the industry. And many of those trainee engineers usually don't possess the highly required like computer skills. They just possess their simulation skills, what they have been taught in the university. Like for example, I consider myself at the time, I did not have those skills during my study. And after joining the industry, I learned many softwares, including the COCO, the ChemCAD, the Aspen HYSYS. Yeah, and then I moved to the project side and learned Microsoft Project, the Primavera P6 Professional. So these are the softwares which are usually we are encountered in our job, not in the university. It is very unfortunate. So people possessing these skills coming from universities are going to perform much more in industry as compared to people like us, which had not in our case, we had not those much skills of our field related software. But of course, Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or presentation, these are the good software. And if one student is good enough in all these software skills, he can do well in industry at the start of his career.
Amazing, and I fully agree. But then the very last question I'll ask, and that is just to elaborate on what you just said. In your opinion, then, what are the softwares that students should learn while they are still in school?
During their undergraduate, I would recommend them to learn the ChemCAD, the COCO, the Aspen HYSYS, the project related software. If one is interested in studying the project side, or he's seeing his future in the project side, or if someone is more relying to the simulation side, then he should learn the simulation based software regardless of whatever background he is from, either from mechanical or chemical or electrical side. He should learn what are the softwares which are highly required for his own field. Like in case of chemical engineering, we have some renowned softwares like CFD and for CFD analysis. We use Aspen HYSYS, Aspen Plus softwares. Then we have ChemCAD for the process simulation. We usually use the COCO. And then we have some project side softwares like Primavera, as I said, Primavera P6 Professional. We rely on Microsoft Dynamics for our acquisition processes. In industry, we usually use the Microsoft Dynamics for our in-house reporting and scheduling processing. What we are doing inside the industry. And then the Microsoft project. These are generally one should learn these softwares and students had time. Students do have time during their final studies. So if one is interested in learning them, he should learn these softwares either from universities which are offering the courses on this software, or from YouTube. We usually have tutorials for all of the softwares available on YouTube.
Amazing. Thank you so very much for sharing that, and fully agree with what you just said. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And if you have not done so already, remember to become a free member at Chemical Engineering Life. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more upcoming podcasts with chemical engineers. Thank you, and have a great day.